You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode number 207.2, our boys basketball report for Liberty Christian's regional championship on Saturday, and a look ahead to this Saturday's semi-state at Seymour.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Rob Hunt, remember way back a couple of weeks ago when we had like 12 teams that you were covering, and now you're down to one.
Down to one.
And honestly, Rob, if you went back to the beginning of the season and said, which team do you think will last the longest? That was probably your pick, the Liberty Christian Lions.
That would have been my pick. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got to this point last year, came within the width of a sneaker of maybe getting to the state championship game, and they've got their work cut out for them this weekend, but they've managed to get back. And they're still such a young team, but so much talent on this Liberty Christian roster.
Yeah, North Decatur kind of stuck with them on Saturday for a little while, but it was obvious the difference from the beginning, right, in the two programs.
Yeah, and a lot of it was the difference in terms of speed. Liberty Christian plays a much faster game and depth. I mean, Coach Anderson could go 9-10 deep, and that started to wear out. You could tell it was really wearing out the Chargers, especially that third quarter. Liberty comes out and scores the first 11 points of that quarter and outscored them 22-7 in the period. So that's big coming out of the locker room. It's like a 5 or 6 point game, something like that at halftime. And, they put their foot down on the floor and just raced right past them. They were, you could definitely see that North Decatur was gassed in the second half.
Yeah, and Liberty just completely dominated after halftime. Ty Wayne Fuller had a really nice game, but that is a team that just seems to be balanced every night.
Yeah, I mean, he's I think their third leading scorer, but he scores 14, and TJ English has a nice game with 10 points. They go up and down the roster. KK Martin had a nice game. He's their leading scorer. Didn't have the big game that he sometimes has, but he was solid. And Amarian Page had some big rebounds. Jordan Harrelson comes off the bench, and that kid is almost a cheat code for Anderson. It's coming off the bench, and he's instant offense. He's a big body. He can play inside. He can hit some shots outside, and I think he had 9 points, something like that, and had some nice defensive plays. Just up and down the roster, kids came in. Christian Townsend, the senior kid who he transferred kind of late, just before the season started, and he has 10 points. Hits a big three to open the game, and also had one during that third quarter run. You go up and down that roster, and they got kids making plays, and that could wear out a team. We'll see how it goes this weekend, but certainly up to this point, that's been a big edge for them.
How much do you think playing the schedule they did during the regular season, Coach Anderson talk about that and how much that's prepared them for what they've done?
That's huge. I mean, that's something Coach Anderson does every year. He doesn't care what their win-loss record looks like during the season. He wants to get this team prepared for all eventualities. So they play, a Brownsburg. They play Cathedral, for heaven's sake. They play Anderson twice. They played them in the county and also opened the season with them. I think they played Noblesville last year, and you're just like, what are you doing playing this schedule? Well, the Pendleton Heights is another 4A team they played.
Yeah.
They're getting ready for this. And you look at the schedule of the four teams at Seymour.
Yep.
Liberty Christian has by far the toughest schedule out of that group. And maybe it makes a difference at this point. Maybe it doesn't. Clay City is supposed to be really, really good. That's who Liberty's going to play Saturday morning, and I'm looking forward to seeing that game. But we'll see. I mean, especially if it's close. In that second half, maybe some of those lessons they learned against that top level talent will come through for them.
Yeah, and this, of course, is the level that they reached last year. They won a game in the semi-state last year, of
Mhm.
course. And on the other side of the bracket, it's not easy either. You got number 2 Hauser and number 4 Orleans. I guess there would be no easy path through this, but uh, if they're going to get to the state finals, they are going to have to earn it.
They're going to earn it. Yeah, 3 of the top 4 teams in the state, according to computer rankings, which whoever knows what that's worth, are in this semi-state. But Liberty Christian, I think, was number 1 or 2 to start the season.
Yeah, I bet
With
Liberty
everything
would. I bet
they had
Liberty would
done.
love to be in the North, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that they care too much. I really don't. I don't. I think they're whoever's in front of them, they're going to play them. Yeah, they went to the North last year. They're going through the South this year, and sometimes these rural schools, you don't know who they're playing, and I think the strength of schedule maybe shows that. Now, Clay City is a little different in that that you look at the roster. I believe they have 10 seniors. They're a very experienced team. Their only loss was to I believe a 3A team that almost won regional, I think. You can check me on that, but that's another team that they just beat whoever's in front of them. That's what they do. And
Yeah, it was the Northview, right? Yeah.
yes, that's
Yes.
right. A team that I think a lot of people thought might make a much deeper run.
Well, they ran into addicts, or they may have.
Well, that can slow you down pretty
Yeah.
quick. Um, But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what does. I know, and I think it's Seymour maybe in kind of Hauser's backyard, pretty close.
Yes, it is.
Liberty's got the longest drive out of this group, but they had the longest drive last year, and all the way to Michigan City, and still won a game up there. So,
Well, Seymour's better than Michigan City, right?
Yeah, very, very nearly made it to the state championship game last year. It was so close. I'm pretty sure as Jordan Harrelson hits a 3 that would have tied it, or actually, I think it would have put Liberty ahead with just under a minute to go. But his one of his heels actually touched the sideline as he was releasing the shot, and so unfortunately, a referee saw it, and that
right.
was kind of the difference. And that's why I kind of always say that they were possibly, you don't know what's going to happen afterwards, but maybe they were a width of a sneaker away from getting on to Cambridge.
And this year, maybe this is the year. And you know what? I don't think this is going to be the last year that they're going to be doing this either.
No. You look at the top 3 players on this team are sophomores. Harrelson's a junior, so there was a lot of talent coming back even, but they're not thinking about that yet.
Of course.
They're hungry. They were not happy with the fact that they came up short last year. And they've talked about that. TJ English talked about it after the regional game. They're going to kind of enjoy that for a few minutes, but then they got to get focused, and they want to win the semi-state. They want to get back to Cambridge, and I think this team's very focused. They're very hungry. We'll see what they're kind of. I really haven't done a deep dive on Clay City yet to see what they're up against, but obviously, according to the computers and the polls, Liberty Christian's playing in the toughest semi-state in terms of 1A.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
They've got a challenge in front of them, but as we talked about the schedule this team plays, and they've not shied away from any challenge all year.
Be really cool to have a Liberty Christian Clinton Prairie state championship game. That would be fun for our little region here.
Okay.
Speaking of which, the Hoosier Heritage Conference. How about the performance they had on Saturday?
Let's see, Delta, New Pal, and Get Out, and I know New Pal's they have high hopes of maybe getting on to Gamebridge as well, and Delta's got a little, I think, a tougher task and a longer drive. I think, there's 3 Delaware County teams, and I don't cover any of them, so it doesn't really matter to me. But this is part of the problem with that is there are no northern semi-state sites that are east of US 31. I'm not 100% sure where Elkhart stands, but still,
right around there.
If Elkhart is the farthest east, then any team that's in the eastern half of the state is stuck with a really long drive. And I get that that's part of the romance of this round. You go on, get on a long drive, you go watch your team play, and your small town shuts down, and you all get in a caravan and go. But man, some of these teams, like last year, Liberty played a team that was, Liberty had I don't want to say it was a 3 hour drive. It was at least that. And they were playing a team that was 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
is
Well,
that
that's what
fair? I don't know.
Wapahani's doing. This
Right,
Wapahani is facing Gary 21st Century in Michigan City. Of course, Michigan City and Gary are 20 minutes apart, maybe 25.
right.
What?
And that's the thing. I think Wapahani is kind of one of those programs now where they're like, we don't care. Yeah, I don't get me wrong. They
Well,
would much rather be close
their
home.
fans are sure complaining about it. So,
Well, I'm not going to say anything about their fans, but as far as that program and that team,
yes,
they're going to go wherever, play whoever, and that's the level their program is at now, where they're expected to perform at a high level. You can, is it Fishers that's going to Elkhart? No,
yes.
yeah. So Fishers up at Elkhart. I mean, that's not a short trip for them either, and
No,
I don't know. And honestly, nobody's going to feel sorry for Fishers either, but.
no.
Uh,
At least it's all highway. At least.
right. So Wapahani's got to spend an hour on some backcountry roads
Yes,
just to
they
get
are.
to a highway.
That's
So,
right.
um, so yeah, I think something's got to be addressed there. There's got to be a venue in Fort Wayne, or Huntington has been a
Right.
semi-state before.
Yeah.
That's where Lapel and Liberty. They were there together in 2016.
Kokomo,
Uh,
Marion,
Kokomo,
Muncie.
Marion.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are Muncie Fieldhouse for sure. And I know Newcastle is a site for the South. It could very easily be a northern site as well.
Yeah, it's
So,
probably better for our teams to be in the South because the options were Newcastle, Southport, and Seymour were three of the four options.
right.
Those are pretty easy trips.
Yeah, and even Hatchet House, I think that would have been a bittersweet thing. It's like, yeah, I got a 3 hour drive, but man, I'm going to the Hatchet
Oh,
House.
yes.
So
Yes.
I would love to cover a game there at some point. I've never been,
Oh,
but yeah, the couple hours to Seymour is not terrible, and this is a new venue for me as well, and been communicating with the AD there, getting my arrangements all set up for Saturday. Looking forward to it.
I'm not sure there's a better place to watch a basketball game in Indiana than Washington. It is amazing.
Thanks once again to the great Rob Hunt for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report, talking to our listeners. And thank you for listening. As always appreciate it. If you are interested in seeing the Central Indiana Sports Report continue to grow and thrive, please share these episodes with your friends and family.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media and Greg Loves Susie.